Do you think you could be an artist?
Maybe.
Maybe. That would be good.
My art isn't very good.
Do you know what? My art isn't very good either, but I get to be a curator. I get to choose the artists for this exhibition. But I think it's, as long as you make something, it doesn't have to be good. Just make anything and it's good. Welcome to Art Basel Hong Kong. I am Alexie Glass-Kantor and I am the curator for Encounters, the large-scale installations here at Art Basel Hong Kong. I live in Australia, where I'm the director of a contemporary art centre called Art Space, and I've been the curator for Asia for Art Basel for 9 years. This is my 7th edition, but I'm someone who works in not-for-profit and exhibition spaces, commissioning and producing new work by emerging through to established artists from culturally diverse and international contexts. I have a very strong passion for female and female-identifying artists, as well as gender-diverse, culturally diverse, and intergenerational artists who are really pushing at the limits of things. I first came to China in the year 2000 to do an article for Art Asia Pacific, and I travelled for 4 weeks to meet artists in their studios from Beijing to Kunming to Shanghai to Tianjin. I've been making exhibitions across Singapore, Malaysia. I lived in Korea about 15 years ago, where I lived in Seoul and I worked for an alternative space called Samji. And I've always really been excited about the way in which artists from Asia lead ideas globally, socially and culturally, through incredible material and creative transformation, a way of imagining the world not as it is, but as it might be. For Art Basel Hong Kong, I've been the curator for 9 years here. I've moved the sector towards commissioning and supporting the presentation of work that has never been seen anywhere else in the world. I've moved the sector to always have gender parity or non-binary diverse representation. So women are strong for Art Basel Hong Kong, and I try where I can to open Art Basel Hong Kong with the work of female or female identifying artists. And this year I have projects from 16 artists from countries from Pakistan, India, Cuba, Chile, China, South Korea. And of the 16 projects this year, 11 are brand new commissions. And my passion as a curator is really for advocating for the relevance, dynamism, and critical impact that artists from this region have on a global conversation. I think ultimately the audience decide what a work of art means. I don't think of myself as a connoisseur or an expert. I think of myself as someone who's really curious. I think something that's really important when you think about how artists meet audiences, whoever they are, collectors, professionals, general public, kids, anyone, is that there's just like an openness, and that you really create space for people to determine for themselves, to make up their own minds about what a work of art is. I come to Hong Kong all the time, and I've been coming and working in Hong Kong for 25 years. And I think there's actually a lot of compatibility and parallels between Sydney and Hong Kong. We both have a strong history and precedent for alternative spaces. Hong Kong has Art Asia Archive, it has Parasite, and it has a range of things like chat and different collaborative projects that support artists to make new work. I also think both cities have a very strong museum scene, a very strong commercial gallery scene, and a very strong sense of resilience and determination. Something I love about Hong Kong and that people underestimate, I think, a little bit in Hong Kong and Hong Kong artists is the connections of artists across generations, and the ways in which artists from both emerging through to established kind of have a very strong sense of kinship and motivation to create a robust cultural community. I think Tai Kwun, the institutions and networks of spaces that exist in the city, but also the new commercial galleries like Empty and PhD, the expansion of Hong Kong galleries like Kiang Malang, the kind of progressive programming of alternative and performance spaces, all kind of really mark out Hong Kong as a place where artists make art. People were asking me during COVID, is Hong Kong over? And I was just absolutely no. Because, looking at Mac 2, looking at Jaffa Lam, looking at Trevor Yung, with whom I've been able to produce remarkable new projects in the past 2 years. 9 years ago when I began curating Encounters, I couldn't get a gallery to give me a Hong Kong artist to put in my sector. But now I'm opening show every year with Hong Kong first. And, you know, Jaffa and Trevor last year both made their works out in Fortan in the New Territories. You know, a great place for art and social collaboration, and probably the best dim sum in Hong Kong. And, you know, I really am so grateful to the Hong Kong community for its passion and determination, and the constant sort of sense of resilience that the cultural community has here. You know, nothing anywhere from Sydney to Berlin to New York to Paris to Hong Kong is perfect. Everything changes all the time. And it's not how we operate in the present, but it's how we always bring the past into a conversation with the present to create a new future that determines who we are and what we become. And Hong Kong does that with such skill and tenacity and passion that I feel so privileged to be able to work here and have a sustained relationship with the artistic community here.